It's the decision structure assignment where we need to take this decision table and using the values in here, create a program that will take input from the user, and based on the input of the user, we'll assign that to quantity. And based on what the quantity value is, we'll then, using the decision table here, determine what the discount is for the user. So let's go ahead and get an instance of Visual Studio open here. All right, so we're going to click on Create a New Project. We'll make it a C# console, .NET Core, and call it assignment 3. Click Create. What? Oh, I must already have one in there. Hey, no worries. So I already have an assignment 3 in there, so I'm just going to append it with a 2 in the parentheses so I don't conflict on the name.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, so let's get back to our screen here. So this kind of writes it out in the correct order that we need to define it here. So, or does it? No, actually that's right. It's just saying after you've read the lessons 8 and 9, you completed the repetition and structure example, then you should be able to create this one here. So if you want to go back and look at those examples that are at the bottom there, they kind of help us to lead to this. But if you think about it and, you know, realize that this, you could use a method here, but it's not required. So the next assignment that you're going to do, assignment 4, that'll have the requirement to use a method. So since it's not a requirement here, I just did it very simply. I just put everything inside of the main. And so the first thing that we want to do is declare the variables that we're going to use. So you can think of it when you look at a decision table, really the values that we see here in this left-hand column, those are representing what the variables are going to be for us, right? Because we want to take in from the user some information, and what the user is giving us is what's the quantity they want to order. And basing it on that quantity, then we want to output to them what their discount's going to be. So if you just look at it that way, we can say, oh, okay, well, that's real easy. Let's just go ahead and create a couple of integer variables, because we know that that's the type of values we're going to be storing in here is integers. So let's just declare those. So just overwriting our console write line hello world statement there. Let's just comment it here. We'll do declare program variables. And then I'll just do an int with quantity, comma, discount. Okay, so you can see I'm getting errors here, and that's one of the kind of drawbacks, I think, of IntelliSense, especially for new users. You start seeing errors and you go, oh no, I'm not doing it right. But this error is just saying, hey, you declared some variables here and you haven't used them yet. Well, we're well aware of that, so we really didn't need that information. Okay, so that's just a declaration, 2 variables, what their names are going to be, quantity, discount, and they're both going to be of type integer, right? So then, from a programmatic standpoint, the first thing that needs to happen in our program is we need to get that input from the user, right? So I'll create a comment that reads prompt user to input quantity. That's one of the things that I've noticed in
you said in out.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's something I noticed in some of the assignments that got submitted, is there's a few typos in there. If you're doing this professionally, obviously typos are not enjoyed by your employers very much.
And I just noticed instead of a red line, it's a pink line.
Oh, is it? Well, you can change the colors. That's, if you go into, I think it's tools and options, somewhere in there, you can set up which colors you want for your error messages. It's under IntelliSense, I think. Okay, but getting back to our program now, we've declared these 2 variables because we know we need to have these 2 variables to store values, one for the quantity, one for the discount, both of type integer. And now what we want to do is write a statement to the user informing them that that's what we would like, is we would like them to input the quantity value for us. So how would I display that to the user? What object and method will I use here?
Console write.
Yes, very good. So console dot write, and then into parentheses, in quotes, we just type in enter a quantity, space, close quote, end statement with a semicolon. So that's going to inform the user what we want. Then the next thing is we want to take the input from the user. So let's go ahead and do a comment for that as well. Assign user input to quantity. How do I take user input? If I want to assign the user's input to quantity, well, I've got it. Go ahead, I didn't hear that.
I said an int.
Yes, but to start the statement, we really want to.
32 parse.
That's one way to do it, or convert to int32. Yeah, absolutely. But to start the statement, though, the result, what you're talking about is the part where we actually grab the input from the user. But remember, to begin the statement, we have to have the variable we want to assign that input to, right?
So it's the discount.
No, this would be the quantity, right? We're asking the input quantity, so it's to quantity that we would be assigning that to. And then here, like I say, you do have two options. You can do convert dot to int 32, or you can do int 32 dot parse. I've just started using the convert a little bit more often, and that's no particular reason why. I just did. So then inside of there, inside of those parentheses, in the convert parentheses, that's where we want to put in there the actual console.readLine object. So console object readline method. And that is a single statement, so we end it with the semicolon. Yeah, see, again, it's balking at my variable names here.
Yeah, you forgot to put in.
What's that?
You're supposed to put int, right? That's why it's ...
You have to say that again. I didn't catch all of what you were saying.
Weren't you supposed to put an int in front of quantity because of the ...
Oh, I already declared it, or yeah, I declared it up here. And it's inside of main, so this is all happening in the same method. So as long as I've declared it up here, then I don't want to use the keyword int again. I'm just going to put in there quantity equals convert to.
Then why is there ...
It says it's unnecessary assignment of a value to quantity, and I don't have any idea why it's thinking that. Let's see what it says for potential fixes here. I don't know. That doesn't mean really anything. Yeah, I don't know why that's putting that up there. IntelliSense has some weird errors once in a while, and that appears to be one of them. That is correct syntax. So it's just the name of the variable because it's already been declared, and then make it equal to, and you do have to convert it to an int 32 because that's what we declared it as up here as an int. So we're just taking the input from the user, which is a string, converting it to a 32-bit integer, and assigning it to quantity. So that's all correct. So then the next thing is we need to take that value that the user has given us and using a decision structure, evaluate the value and determine what the discount's going to be, right? So let's go ahead and make a comment to that effect. Determine value of discount based on quantity, that was input. So let's go back now and look at our decision structure because we need to know the values here. So if it's less than 5%, they're going to get a 1% discount. If it's less than 25%, they get a 5% discount. Less than 50%, they get a 10% discount. And if it's over 49, then they're going to get a 15% discount. So that's the structure we want to set up there essentially then. If quantity less than 5, discount will be equal to 1. If quantity less than 25, discounts equal to 5. If quantity is less than 50, discounts equal to 10. And then else, discount will be 15. Does that make sense? And there's actually another way to do that, which is instead of using the lesser than, we could do, reverse the order there and do it. I've seen a couple of different variations on that. But for me, this is the most logical. So if quantity less than 5, so there's the beginning of our decision structure. We've got the keyword if, we've got the expression we want it to evaluate, which is checking to see if the value stored in quantity is less than 5. And if that's the case, then we'll just use a single line if here because we only have one statement for it. So discount then is going to be equal to 1. Else if, so I don't want to put another if here because if I did that, it would just go through and check each one of the expressions, and every time that it met the every time that expression evaluated the true, then it would give them that discount. So what we want to do here is we want to have separate expressions, and in order to get separate expressions, you have to add else ifs. So an else if says if the previous expression evaluated to false, now go ahead and evaluate this expression. If the first line, if the if quantity less than 5, if that evaluated as true, then it stops at that point. And I just realized I'm missing my closing parentheses. Oh no, that's after, that's right. It's a one-line statement. So if quantity is less than 5, then it's going to run discount equal to 1, and then everything else will be skipped. So that's the key of using an if or an else if, is that we're always evaluating an expression. And if the expression is false, it'll skip whatever blocks we have. So in the example of this else if, we want to check to see if quantity is less than 25. And if that's the case, then we want our discount to be set to 5. The next expression is also going to be an else if, because again, we still want to make sure that we're setting it up so that it skips it if it's false. So else if our quantity is less than 50 at this point, oops, 50, then we want our discount to be equal to 10. So all three of those statements are exclusive of each other, right? If any one of those evaluates to true, it'll skip the rest of them. Now, if none of those are true, then the number would have to be greater than 49, right? Because even 0 is less than 5. So 0 or negative values, those would all actually be true in this first line. But once we get to here, we're basically saying less than 49 or less than 50, which is, the highest value we could have there would be 49 to make that true. So if it's greater than 49, or basically anything over 49, we want to apply the, what is it, the 15% discount. So all we want to do now is just put an else in here. There's no clause for the else. There's no expression for the else. It's just else discount will be equal to 15. So the only time that line runs is if all three of these expressions evaluates to false. Now that we know what the value of discount is going to be, we can go ahead and display that as our result. We do want to display it as a percentage. So how would you write that statement out? Anybody? No takers? Well, we know it begins with console.writeLine. What am I putting in the parentheses?
Put in parentheses, $.
Okay, so the string interpolator.
Quotes, your discount is ... what was that other sign?
Curly brace?
Bracket, yeah, curly brace, calculate discount, or whatever the thing was.
Discount is correct.
Parentheses, quantity, and then
no, I don't need quantity. All I need to show me is the discount.
Yeah.
So this is correct with one exception. We want to add the percent sign in the
the percent sign.
Right, so it'll be whatever the numeric value is followed by the percent sign. Very good. Okay, so let's save that and let's run it. Okay, so here's our program running, asking for quantity. So let's type in a low number first. So let's put in there 3 as our quantity. We can see we get a discount of 1. That's correct. We'll run it again. This time I want a value that's 5 or greater. So let's check out 8. And that gives us a 5% discount. That's correct. Run it again. And the next one would be greater than 24. So let's type in 28. That should give us the 10% discount, and it does. And then let's see what happens when we're greater than 50. Actually, we just type in 50 just to prove that that is above 49 there. And that does indeed give us our 15% discount. This is the assignment, just exactly the way that I've shown it to you. That's 100% correct.